Before I guess we talk about the core business, I wanted to ask you, I'm quite surprised actually how flexible your production capacity was to shift into masks. Are you still producing masks?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, we are. Well, fundamentally, Razer is a stay-at-home business, so our core business is doing great. But we decided that we wanted to kind of give back and see how we can support the fight against COVID-19. So we converted some of our facilities in China to produce face masks. And in addition, we've just announced that we've also set up a face mask production line right in Singapore.
Okay, part of your effort, clarify this for us, I could be wrong here. You've also committed $50 million this year to support business partners. Can you elaborate more on where that money is actually going to go, where you foresee that money going in terms of support? And I'm going to ask you this as well. Is that actually a way of maybe looking at purchases and acquisitions using that money?
So, we've gone into 2020 with a very strong balance sheet. We've got zero debt. We've got over $500 million in cash. So essentially, when COVID-19 struck, we realized how much it impacted many of our partners, in the services business that we've got. So what we did was to put aside $50 million specifically to support our partners who have been affected by COVID-19. So what we're doing is pretty much through our three arms. We've got Razer Gold, which is a virtual credit system that many of the game companies out there use. We've got Razer FinTech, which is a fintech platform, and we process billions of dollars out there. And we've got our own corporate ventures fund. So essentially, this $50 million will be deployed through each of these three arms, specifically for our partners to help them tide through COVID-19 and potentially investing in some new companies that will be addressing this side of the business.
Tan, it's Tom here in Beijing. Are you attracted by some of the valuations out there of some of these startups? Is that an opportunity for you?
Well, I think valuations have definitely come down. I think there has been a bit of a cash squeeze for many of the startups, but there are tons of good quality startups up there, and I think we're fielding a lot of calls right now. And essentially, we are definitely looking to deploy some of our cash to invest in some of these startups.
And how has the stay-at-home situation affected demand for your products?
Well, fundamentally, Razer, we are a stay-at-home business. Well, essentially, we cater to gamers, and there are gamers everywhere. We've seen gaming activity really go up through the roof. So for our hardware business, we've got our products like our headset, our webcams, our broadcaster series. It's seeing a lot of increased activity and demand. For our software, we've got one of the largest software platforms in the world for gamers. We've seen huge increase. We can literally see the impact of gamers staying at home and the activity go up on the platform. And of course, we've got our gaming virtual credits, Razer Gold. We see a lot more transactions happening on Razer Gold. I think with the move to cashless, there's a lot of people buying things via e-commerce and Razer FinTech. We process billions for all of these e-commerce companies. We can see a huge increase in this total payment volume. And of course, esports is in our DNA. We're seeing a lot of the traditional sports kind of pivot across to esports, F1, things like that. So we see a lot more activity on that front too.
In terms of your total turnover last year, record $821 million. Do you become $1 billion revenue company this year because of that boost that you just talked about?
So I can't really talk about our numbers, specific numbers, but we're definitely seeing quite a bit of growth, I think, in terms of the demand. I think we have also seen, short-term challenges, in terms of like supply chain and logistics, etc. But we definitely do see consumer demand going up through the roof at this point of time. I think gaming, we've seen a lot more new gamers, I think, come on board. We've got millions of fans everywhere, and we're seeing new fans come on board, trying to find out a little bit about the games, whether it's on a PC, console, or mobile. So definitely, I think, in these difficult times, entertainment is something that many people who are stuck at home are looking to find.
I'm sure you've thought about this as well. Do you expect any permanent change or structural change to your company and to your industry once all of this tides over?
Definitely. I think for ourselves, we've always worked on a bit of a decentralized way. We've had, staff working from home and stuff like that for quite a while because of the vast majority of our business is online. But we do see that gaming, was on the rise, I think, prior to COVID. But I do see that gaming and entertainment is going to be one of the mainstays for the years to come. I think, in addition, a lot of our investments at Razer has been in respect of fintech and the cashless revolution. I definitely see that as a huge area of growth for ourselves. And of course, esports. I think prior to this whole COVID situation, it was clearly on the rise, but definitely right now, it is the only way for many people to kind of enjoy sports at this juncture. So I think it's definitely changed the company in the sense that many of our initiatives that we have set on in the early days have now come to fruition. And for us, it's all about catching up with the demand at this point in time.
Tan, you touched on payments. What are you seeing? What are you hearing in terms of your application for a digital banking license in Singapore and Malaysia? Are you any closer to that?
Yeah, definitely. We're in the process of, in terms of the application, the results were supposed to be announced in the middle of the year, but I think the regulators have announced that given the whole COVID situation, the results would be announced a little later in the year. That much said, I think for ourselves, in terms of digital payments, we had a great year last year in 2019. We processed over $2 billion of digital payments. This year, we're seeing a lot of good growth, I think, with e-commerce. And for ourselves, I think from a global brand perspective, we're still very focused at Razer to build a global youth bank of sorts. So, one way or the other, we're still building out our platform. We are really focused in terms of getting digital financial services out there for the youth.